Welcome to the Finding Financial Freedom podcast with the Frugal Physician, where Dr. Disha Spath will be your companion on this exciting financial adventure. Get ready to conquer debt, build wealth, and embrace a mindful spending lifestyle that will empower you to live life on your own terms.
Are you juggling six-figure student loans, career exhaustion, and the pressure to do it all? You're not alone. You don't have to figure it out alone either. Earned is a fully comprehensive wealth and tax firm, purpose-built for doctors like you. From student loan strategies to considering an S-Corp, Earned helps women physicians take control of their finances, so money becomes a tool to build wealth more tax efficiently. Earned's unique Dr. Wealth playbook includes tax planning, investing, insurance, career advisory, and more. It's a holistic approach from advisors who get the financial pressures of your profession. For a limited time, Frugal Physician listeners can visit earn.com/frugal for exclusive access to this comprehensive planning at a discounted rate. Go to earn.com/frugal to secure your discounted rate because you've earned it. That's earn.com/frugal. Welcome back to Finding Financial Freedom with the Frugal Physician. I'm your host, Dr. Disha Spath, and today we're diving into one of the most pressing questions for healthcare providers. Is direct primary care a dream job or a total disaster? At least it is for me because I'm about to start a DPC. So if you are thinking about starting a DPC or going out on your own, this is going to be a really interesting episode for you. Joining me is Monica McKitterick, nurse practitioner, entrepreneur, and author of DPC, Dream Job or Total Disaster, The Good, the Bad, and Everything They Forgot to Mention. Monica shares her honest journey from burnout to building a thriving DPC practice with 3 locations and thousands of patients. Before we start, I want to acknowledge the elephant in the room. We are mostly a doctor-facing podcast, and I know there's a lot of angst about scope creep and false equivalency between doctors, nurse practitioners, and physician's assistants training. But I want to be clear here. This is not an NP or PA bashing podcast. We need primary care practitioners, and I am fully in support of whoever is willing to provide that valuable service. Now, that doesn't mean I don't value the years of rigorous training us MDs and DOs go through. There are many things that set each one of us apart, and there are plenty of patients to go around who will seek out the kind of practitioner they're looking for. There are so few of us in small business, and infighting only holds us back. I think we should value anyone who is walking the walk, taking a leap of faith for themselves and their patients, and is willing to teach others about it. So with that, let's welcome nurse practitioner Monica McKitterick.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here today.
I'm so happy to have you. Thank you so much for what you're doing and for teaching everyone. Let's start. Let's do a little lighthearted segment to loosen things up. I'm going to just throw some questions at you and just say the first thing that comes to mind.
All right. I'm ready for it.
Let's go. If you weren't running a DPC, what would your dream side hustle be?
I mean, I'd love to be a travel blogger. Traveling is my love language. And so that would be my absolute dream, is to just travel. Unfortunately, I feel like then the blogging part would get in my way a little bit. So maybe I wouldn't love it as much as I think I would, but that would probably be my first go-to.
Yeah, it is a lot of work, but then it does give you lots of opportunity to use your travel as business expense, which is also a tax play. So
Absolutely.
Coffee or tea during charting?
Coffee all day long. I'll occasionally drink tea, but I'm a coffee snob, to be honest.
I'm right there with you. One guilty pleasure purchase that was not frugal, but worth it.
Probably my last first class ticket on an airplane. I am almost 6'1", and so flying economy is not great for me. So we took our first trip to Asia and booked first class tickets. So totally worth it, except that now my 10-year-old is completely spoiled. And every time we fly economy now, he's gonna be like, where's my bed? So
I know, right? We flew first class once on a very short flight down to South Carolina. And now every plane we go on, my son's like, are we turning left or right when we get in the plane?
Right.
I'm like, son, we will be turning right all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, but 100% worth it if you're going to fly across the world. Those 18, 16-hour flights, oh my God.
It's a game changer.
So worth it. Yeah. If your clinic had a theme song, what would it be?
Probably the theme song from the Friends show, the I'll Be There For You, because that's just what we do for all of our patients and for our staff. We're just there for people when they need us. So that's what I
Oh,
would go
I
with.
love that. Favorite non-medical skill that secretly helped you as an entrepreneur?
Oh, that's funny. I always say finding a cervix, but that is a medical way. I would say probably the fact that I can sew is actually very helpful.
Really?
So I like hem my own pants occasionally and fix things. So I love to make baby things is really my jam.
Oh, that's so
Only because they're
cute.
fast, right? They don't
Yeah.
take that long. That's
Yeah,
it.
I really feel like sewing is like a lost skill that our generation just doesn't have anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I am
so helpful.
an amateur Pinterest extraordinaire. So I have like all the machines, like an embroidery machine and a sewing machine and all the things. So
Oh my
that's where
God.
I would
Oh
go.
my God. That's amazing.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right. Well, Monica, let's jump into your DPC journey because I'm really, really excited to hear about this. You described in your book that you were leaving a toxic system where CEOs with no medical training dictated your patient care. What was the moment that you knew that you had to walk away and take that leap into DPC?
Yeah, I worked in the insurance-based system for about 10 years and always had those people in the C-suite that told me how to do my job, even though they had never taken care of a patient a day in their lives. And I was working for a smaller practice at the time, and the physician I was working with was amazing, but her husband was actually the CEO. And it was awful. He would just try to like put himself into places that he didn't belong. And I am not an anxious person in general. Like I tend to be pretty like low key. And I was at a yoga class once and I was so stressed out about this CEO that I literally just started crying in yoga class, like just
Mm.
crying. And my husband was there with me and he looks over and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so it was that day, like my husband wrote a resignation letter for me. And that was the like moment where I was like, I can't keep working for these people that don't understand patient care because I went into healthcare to take care of humans as most do. And that is not at all what I was doing. And just the constant, you aren't doing enough. You aren't seeing enough patients. You aren't going fast enough. Even though I was really efficient, I just couldn't take it anymore. And that was like my end game.
Girlfriend, I feel you. Oh my God. I feel like no matter like which insurance-based healthcare you're in, it's always that like you're not seeing enough. You're not seeing enough. You need to speed up. And you're like, but I'm doing the best I can. I'm already running myself ragged, right? And I am trying to take good care of these people, and they don't seem to appreciate quality, but only quantity. And and it is such a shame, really. And also feel you on the yoga cries. There's something about yoga that brings it out, right? It's just like whatever pent up feeling you had that you were like suppressing sometimes comes out. And
Yeah,
I think that's the huge value of meditating and yoga in general too.
absolutely. I think it gave me that quiet that I could actually like listen to my feelings at that point. And I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Good for you for listening to that inner voice and, actually taking action. Your book opens with a story about seeing a Facebook ad that changed everything. Can you walk us through that one click that reshaped your entire career?
Yeah, I was relocating to Texas at the time. We had a couple of months we knew that we were going to be moving. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And so in my nurse practitioner journey, I'd done family practice, I'd done urgent care, I did orthopedics for a while, I did vein treatments. But I'd always had a passion for primary care because I was taught to take care of a whole person. It was really hard when I would see a patient in ortho and be like, wow, your blood pressure is really high. And I was trained to take care of that, but that's not my lane. So I can't fix that. But also, primary care is exhausting in the insurance
Right.
world. And so I was like, I don't think I can do this. So, I'm pretty sure my phone was listening to me and it sent me a Facebook ad that said, primary care physician takes home $400,000 a year and is home in time for dinner. And I was like, well, that's clearly a lie. Clickbait worked, my friend. Um, and it was an ad about a company that was helping people open direct primary care offices. And I was like, wait, what is this? So I looked into it, did a bunch of research, and then went to my husband who has an MBA. And I said, husband, I am going to open a practice where I can see less patients, take better care of them, have more control of my time, and make the same amount of money. And he literally laughed in my face. And he, Monica, that's not real life. And I was like, oh no, I think I can do this. So I Googled how to write a business plan because ChatGPT was not a thing back then. And I wrote a business plan, went to my husband and said, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to move to a new state. I need $20,000 to start this. And I'm not going to get paid for at least 6 months, but I'm going to do this. And he was like, okay. And so we started there. And 6 months later, I moved to Texas and opened my practice. And I knew exactly 2 people in all of Central Texas. So I'm in the Austin area when I moved here. So not only was I opening a new practice with a new model of healthcare that people were very unfamiliar with, but also I had no following of patients. And so it was starting down and dirty. And yeah, it worked out though, but it took a little convincing, especially for my husband to convince him. But yeah, it was all because a Facebook ad lied to me, basically. It didn't really lie to me. I mean, I can't say I'm making $400,000 a year, but I am living my best life. So that's helpful.
How did you get the word out, not knowing anyone?
Oh, lots of boots on the ground, my friend. Thankfully, I'm a very outgoing person. And so doing networking meetings was not a struggle for me, but it's not something that I expected I needed to do. So I started going to Chamber of Commerce meetings, different networking meetings all over the city and meeting people. And so it's interesting now, my family actually calls me Miss Cedar Park. I live in Cedar Park, which is a suburb of Austin, because I know so many people in this area. Like I'm the president of multiple nonprofits. I know all of city council, the mayor, like all these people. And it's because of networking. And so it was a ton of boots on the ground and then also a big social media push, really getting in front of a camera and being the face forward of my DPC really was helpful because people do business with those that they can like, know, and trust. And so by putting my face everywhere was very helpful. But a lot of getting out of my comfort zone, getting comfortable in front of a camera, and just educating people on every stance, whether that's talking to the server at the restaurant that I'm at, whether it's talking to my kid's preschool teacher and telling them what I do. I'm no longer a nurse practitioner. I am a business owner that has something better to offer you. So
I love that. I love that. You write really candidly about startup costs. Let's go into that. You talk about Craigslist furniture, IKEA decor, the exam table. Why was frugality so important in your early days? And what advice would you give to providers who'd want to bootstrap it?
I was scared crapless, because I'm not sure I can say the S word on this podcast, about not succeeding, right? I had no business running a business. I have 3 degrees in nursing, none in business, as most healthcare providers do. And so I was really worried that what if this didn't work out? I didn't want to waste my family's savings account if it wasn't going to work. Now looking back, it's laughable. But I also realized that I was bringing in patients who were paying me cash. And if I was a patient walking into an office with marble floors and fountains and chandeliers and really expensive couches, I'd be like, wait, why is my membership? That's what my membership is paying for. And so not only have I always been a frugal person where I'm like, listen, this used couch is just as nice as that brand new one. And so it was all about trying to keep cost low because I had to prove that I could actually make this work before I go spending lots of money. So I think that that's a really great thought to keep in mind as you build this is that you're going to make it successful, but especially in the beginning, your patients don't need the best couch. They need a couch where they can sit and feel comfortable and feel heard. That's what they're coming for.
I love that. Yeah. And I love how DPC really takes the frugality mindset and puts it to use. And, keeping overhead down is such a huge part of it. I personally believe in like bougie on a budget kind of thing. I love
budget
bougie.
Oh, my husband describes me all the time. I love bougie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just a little bit of paint and a little bit of spiffing up can make anything, look nice and quality again. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, you mentioned it took about a year before you could pay yourself. How can, I'm in the process of starting up, and it is incredibly scary to face like not actually making money for a few months. How can people prepare financially for that gap?
Absolutely. So I was incredibly fortunate that my husband still had his full-time job and we could live off of his salary, and we had enough in savings that if I didn't get paid for a while, it would be okay. I do know that a lot of people will do moonlighting or keep their second job while they're starting their DPC, because it is a slow process typically, unless you have 8,000 patients that you're transitioning into a DPC, and then you're probably going to be okay from the beginning. But really deciding what that financial situation looks like before you jump into it, right? Do you maybe need to get a business loan to pay yourself for those months? And that's okay. I thankfully didn't have to do that, but it's definitely something you want to really think about before you jump in, because it is stressful to run a business, especially if the income and the revenue is going to be feeding you and your family. And so unfortunately, that's one of the biggest hurdles, I think, to providers getting into the DPC space, is that break in pay, right? And so it's definitely something I would highly encourage you to look at and to plan for. I did write myself my first check 6 months in. Granted, that check was $1,000. Now, I could have paid myself sooner and more, but I was thankfully able to just put that money back into the business and improve marketing or something else to encourage it. So I think it's definitely something you really want to focus on before you make that jump and decide whether you're going to open your own DPC or maybe join another DPC. Just
Yeah.
ideas.
Right. Yeah. That, the business loan aspect of it, generally most banks want 2 years of business history before they even give you money, right? So a lot of
Mhm.
people, I think we could do a whole other episode on how to finance a DPC.
Absolutely.
In any case, let's move on to the kind of person. You, in chapter 2, say you argue that credentials matter less than grit, humility, and patient-centered care. What personality traits do you think make or break a DPC provider?
Yeah, you have to be the provider that wants to go above and beyond. And so, as you mentioned earlier, I love physicians. I greatly respect the school that they went to, because there's no way I could have gone through medical school. No way. I don't have that personality. But what we need in direct primary care are healthcare providers who are willing to go above and beyond for their patients, and not just hey, you need a mammogram, here's the order, because
Yeah.
they don't know what to do with that. They don't know how to navigate this system. It's for those patients that are like, hey, I can't afford this medication. Can you help me find an alternative? Yeah, I can, because that's what we do. And so the direct primary care space is growing, but we need the best of the best in the direct primary care space. And so we need people who are willing to go above and beyond, are willing to put themselves out there, and who truly are in healthcare for the patients. Otherwise, you're in the wrong place, because in DPC, you have to prove your value. Your patients are not walking through the door because of the name. They're not walking through the door because Blue Cross Blue Shield sent them. They're walking through the door because they value you and what you give them. And if you can't prove that value, they're going to walk right back out the door, and you are not going to be successful. And so I need the best DPC providers so that DPC continues to gain traction. My ultimate goal in life is to make DPC as common knowledge as Walmart, where
Mhm.
every single person is like, of course I have a DPC provider. What, you don't have a DPC provider? I want it to be more common that somebody doesn't have one than that they do. And we do that by building amazing practices with amazing providers who go above and beyond and show these patients that your insurance company is not here to take care of you. We are. And that's what we need. We need those providers, whether that's MD, DO, PA, NP. I don't care what's after your name. Those are the people we need in this space.
Agreed. Agreed. Now, Being that service-oriented person, though, you're often giving too much sometimes, especially in the insurance system. So you also talk about boundaries being essential, and that's not usually something that person that's service-oriented is good at. So let's talk about that, learning to say no. How do you build those boundaries without losing the heart of your practice and that service-oriented mindset?
Absolutely. So I learned this a little too late, honestly. I wish I had learned this before I started my practice. Boundaries don't make you unavailable. They don't make you mean. They don't make you unpopular. They actually make you more available. If you don't set boundaries, the same thing is going to happen to you in DPC that happened to you in insurance-based world. And that's where 20% of your patients are going to take up 80% of your time. And so you have to make sure that you are available for all of your patients and that they aren't burning you out. And people will burn you out, and then you'll be right back to where you were before you started your own practice. And so setting limits like, we don't answer the phone after 9:30, because guess what? I can't do anything for you after 9:30. The pharmacies are closed. Your option is to go to the ER. That's really the only thing. And what we have to make sure we understand is that we are here to help you, but your poor planning is not my emergency. And so in the beginning, I would respond to messages at any hour. If somebody called my office, I was picking it up because I didn't want to lose that patient. But what I realized is that was not sustainable. And so as we've grown, we've put very clear boundaries in place. And when you set those boundaries from the beginning, people will respect them. It's when you try to change things later that they run into problems. So I have 7 nurse practitioners that work for me. And so if when one of them is on call, she constantly just fixes their issue, then they're going to expect that every time. And we can't do that because people will get burnt out. And so we set very clear guidelines of what we can do and what we can't do, and patients will respect it. It's when you go one way or the other, or then go back this way, that's when people will get upset. They're like, well, you did it last time. Why won't you do it this time? That's when you run into trouble.
Give me the 2-minute spiel that you give your patients as well, what boundaries you're setting.
Right. So there's somebody on call after 4:30, but if you think it's urgent enough for you to talk to someone, you have to call the office, you have to push 1 to get to an urgent voicemail, and you have to leave a voicemail. We will never answer that phone call. And it's because we want to know who's on the other line. If you're not a member, I'm not answering that phone call, right? You have to leave a voicemail and then we will get back to you. And then we also have to deem that it's actually emergent, that we're going to step away from my family dinner to answer that call. We're here to help you, but your poor planning is not my emergency. Don't call me on Saturday afternoon and say I've had a UTI for 6 days. You should have called me the day before, right? Now, in most situations, especially with UTIs, we will deal with that, but we make it very clear, like there's a reason we have office hours just like everyone else, and it's to prevent burnout. And so it's really just setting those boundaries, and they respect them. They really do. You can send me a text message all day long, 24 hours a day, because our notifications are turned off on our phone. We do not get notifications of text messages sent after hours. If you only have to send a text message, it's not important enough for me to pay attention to it.
So you answer your text messages during office hours then?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's interesting. And, that is it's one of those things that really scares people about going into DPC. It's like, I don't want to be on my phone all day long, and I need the time away from my phone. So that is a good way.
And so I highly encourage that you turn notifications off. We use Spruce. And so if you have those notifications on, it will send you a message every single time a patient sends a message. You will be so overwhelmed and so drowning in patient care, you will run the other way. Turn it off. None of my providers have notifications turned on. The only way they see those Spruce messages is when they're sitting at their office in their chair on their laptop.
And so you're not sharing your cell phone number?
No, do not share your cell phone number. Do not. Absolutely do not. You need to have a number that is for your office specifically.
Okay. You emphasize the importance of building the right team, starting with a good CPA, and even your dog Rocco became a vital part of your practice culture. How do you hire with the heart of keeping overhead low?
Yeah. So I worked solo with the exception of a CPA and a bookkeeper because the IRS scares the crap out of me. I did my practice 100% solo for the first 15 months. I cleaned the toilet. I did all the faxes. I did all of it. And so making sure that you're hiring for the right reason. Don't just hire because it sounds fun. You need to have a list of what that person is going to take off of your plate before you hire them. And then you need to hire not for the person that is the best at doing that job, but for the person that fits the values of your practice. And so if you don't have your core values listed out, you need to back up and go back to that. Because what you do as a provider, as much as you think the rest of the world works just like you, they don't. And so you need to make sure that it's very set of how you want your practice to be run and what rules and regulations someone follows. So when I go to hire somebody, the first thing I send them are our 6 core values and say, listen, this is what we live and breathe and die by. If this doesn't mingle with you, then we're not even having a further conversation because it's not worth it. I don't need the best nurse practitioners. I can teach them how to be better nurse practitioners, but I can't teach them how to be kind and how to be willing to help patients and how to fit our core values. The other piece of advice I would say is hire fast and fire even faster. If you can do 14 interviews, we do dinner interviews with all of our new providers, all of our new employees. You can only tell so much about a person in interviews. You never know until they're actually in your practice working. If something in your gut is telling you it's not right, it's not right. So you need to listen to your gut. And I get it. Firing people and starting over, it totally sucks. It sucks so much, but it will save you so much time and energy in the future that you just have to listen to your own self. But making sure that the people fit your values is number one on your list when you're hiring.
Who, not how. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
The subtitle of your book promises everything they forgot to mention. What do you think most DPC hopefuls are still missing when they first dream of opening a practice?
I think the biggest thing people miss is the marketing aspect. I had no idea how difficult marketing would be. And it's because people don't know what direct primary care is. You can't just set up a Google ad because nobody's typing in direct primary care. And for those people that are typing in primary care, first of all, that keyword is very expensive, but also you're now fighting with all of the big healthcare systems in your area. And you don't want the people that are like, no, I'm only using my insurance. You need people who are educated. And so I would say I spend more time educating people on what direct primary care is and how the benefits are different than anything else I do. And one of the keys is making sure that you are educating people on their pain point. And sometimes that's very difficult. The good news is direct primary care has so many benefits, from same-day appointments to online scheduling to a relationship with your person to text messaging to telehealth. But those different things apply to different people. And so when you're talking to the mom of 4 who just wants to be able to get her kid in after school, that's the benefit you have to speak to her. But when you're talking to a business owner, then you have to speak to his pain point, which is, why are your employees missing work? Right? And so you have to change your pitch every time to fit who you're talking to. And it's really hard to explain DPC in 30 seconds or less. And so finding the right words to resonate with people, I had no idea how difficult that was going to be and how many times I would have to do it, because it's all I do all day long.
Yeah. So I want to see an example. I'm a 40-year-old who, doesn't have a primary care and am thinking I need a new one. And I'm thinking about, who's going to be the best fit for me. I'm a busy mom, working professional. So your pitch, 30 seconds.
So my first thing I would do is ask you a question. What is your biggest struggle with your current healthcare system?
Can't get in. Can't find a doctor who's available.
Absolutely. I completely understand. And that's how direct primary care is different. Not only do we have same-day appointments, but you will almost always see your provider as well. And so if you have a problem at 2:00 in the afternoon, all you have to do is pick up the phone and call. And 90% of the time, we will be able to get you in the same day. And oftentimes, we don't even have to see you. So there are certain times where we have to touch you, right? I can't do a pap smear from afar, but if you have a rash or pink eye or need a medication refill, I don't necessarily have to touch you. And so you don't necessarily have to come in. Of course, you're always welcome to come in, but we do have those appointments available anytime you need them.
Oh, yes, I need that because I work so much and I don't really want to come in unless I have to. So fantastic. That was a great pitch. And I honestly want to sign up now.
100%. And you'll get better at that, right? So if you go back and watch, I have a whole YouTube channel of all different types of videos. Go back and watch the ones from 2019. They're terrible. They're so bad because I didn't understand the words that get people to react. It's something that you will learn over time, but getting people's attention and making sure that you can fix their pain point is very important. You cannot talk like a healthcare provider. They don't care about CPT codes and ICD-10 codes. They care about the problem you can fix for them. And that's a same-day appointment, a fact you don't have to come in all the time. And so especially when you're speaking to patients, dumb it down, guys. Healthcare providers are incredibly successful people that are very eloquent and can speak very technically. Don't speak that way, especially on your website. I did it. I made the mistake of speaking in healthcare provider terms. It won't get you anywhere. You have to speak as if you are the mom. And so really dialing in on who your ideal patient is, which is oftentimes that 40-year-old mom, and speaking to her on your website, make the verbiage speak to her. ChatGPT can help you in so many ways on this. Make sure that you really speak to their pain points.
Love that. Love that. If you could go back to your 2018 self, about to open your doors, what's one piece of advice you'd whisper in her ear?
Hire a virtual assistant and do it quickly. So I have a virtual assistant now. He's been working for us for about 1.5 years. So I was about 5 years in before I hired him because I wasn't really sure, like, what's he going to do? And especially as you grow, there are going to be so many things on the back end that you just don't have the time to deal with. He is so incredibly affordable. I pay him $880 a month and he works full time for me. He watches my email. So when I'm out at a networking group, he will watch my email for anything that might be urgent or needs to come through. He does so many things on so many levels, and it has saved me so much time and energy. And he's such a vital part of our team now that if I could go back, he would have been the first person that I hired.
Wow. And do you use one of the services like Coolblue, or did you find them yourself?
So I actually went on onlinejobs.ph. It is basically a farm for Filipino virtual assistants. I have 2 of them. One does video editing for me, and then I have my office one. And on that website, there is a class called One VA Away. It's $99. It's like a 7-module course that tells you how to hire the right one. Could you go through one of those other systems? Absolutely. You're just going to pay a premium for them because they're finding them, they're training them, they're doing all the things. That class taught me how to find the right guy by putting the right words in my job posting and then how to write the contract to make sure that he stays with us forever because he's amazing.
Awesome. Well, Monica, thank you for your honesty and your practical wisdom. Your book, DPC, Dream Job or Total Disaster, is a must-read for anyone who's considering starting a DPC practice. To my listeners, if you're a provider looking for a way out of burnout or simply curious about whether DPC is right for you, check out Monica's books. And she has a course now as well at dpcformula.com. Monica, is there any last words you want to leave with our audience today?
If DPC is in your heart, go do it. We need more DPC providers. We need the best of the best, and we're here to help you. I had people mentor me to get me through it, and we're here to help others. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, guys. And I know it's scary, but you can absolutely do this. So just go do it. Do it.
So inspiring. So inspiring. Remember, financial freedom isn't just about money. It's about building a life and a career that aligns with your values. And sometimes the riskiest leap is the one that takes you back to the heart of why you chose medicine in the first place. Until next time, I'm Dr. Disha Spath, reminding you to stay frugal, stay intentional, and keep chasing your freedom. Stay frugal, y'all.
The content shared on this podcast should not be taken as individualized financial advice. We are here to share our knowledge and experiences, but it is crucial to consult with professionals such as accountants, financial advisors, or attorneys who can provide personalized guidance based on your specific needs.